Top of the morning to you. This is Monday with Friday, preparing you for a better week ahead. I'm going to take a little extra time today, so please stay with me. Do remember to like this video, share it widely with your friends, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Americans used to look forward to the annual State of the Union address. Masses no longer do. Tomorrow night, I shall not. I will rely instead on reputable reporting to sift through whatever fragments of truth might be found amid the spectacular lies expected to be told. Why skip it? Because we are living through what Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney calls an international rupture, at the heart of which lies a crisis of fidelity, integrity, and credibility that has seized us by the throat. Since a white elephant descended a golden escalator 3,900 days ago, the world has watched the clock tick with explosives strapped to it. Some have already detonated with deadly force, others still lie in wait. With each passing hour, we measure not only time but decay, the erosion of public trust, the corrosion of institutions, the normalization of lies. Politicians routinely break good promises and zealously enact harmful ones. Compromise and fact have become four-letter words. They swear on oaths with one hand on sacred texts, while the other hand reaches for donors, ambition, and the next term. Incumbency is no longer a season of service, it is a season of self-preservation. American democracy and international stability hang by a thread. Americans have displaced their soul with a scoundrel, their character with a caricature. We exchange a bright future for a chaos-filled bump, an intellectual rump, a political dump, and an immoral frump, all wrapped in the same person. This man, whom so many follow, is no truth teller, no constitutional guardian, no exemplar of moral restraint, no purveyor of shiny vision or motivation. And most dangerously, he submits to no accountability, enabled by a supreme disappointment we used to call a Supreme Court. A gaudy, ugly, and larger-than-life dark banner bearing his image hangs on a federal building as though to declare to the world, America is a joke, justice is a lie, credibility is dead, decency is weakness. The party aligned with him proclaims itself champion of family values, often casting the opposing party as demonic. Yet, it separated asylum-seeking children from parents at the southern border during his first term and called it policy. The evangelist who sends shoeboxes to unfortunate international kids at Christmas said not a mumbling word when those same kids landed on his back door. Their credibility? Sent to hell. In this second act, federal agents who act like slave patrols and like the Gestapo brutally leave American infants abandoned, ripping their parents away. They yank an American citizen out of his house in sub-zero temperature in deep snow with only shorts and slippers on. Arresting him for what? For simply being Asian. And they shoot a woman in her face at point-blank range to her death as she drove away. Credibility? Let it go to hell. Those of us paying attention long ago knew that this man's reach of wickedness would exceed American shores. And it has. But I have heard Christians in Ghana and Kenya and other African nations, people who understand oppression, celebrate this man as good. A Caribbean leader echoed this murderous rhetoric of his lawless Secretary of War, despite the fact that his flagrant contravention of international law harms this woman's own citizens. Kill them all violently, she declared, even as American arsenals killed her citizens. A Moscow strongman is this man's exemplar. A criminally indicted Israeli prime minister is his ally. An illiberal despot in Budapest provides his playbook. And an iniquitous Salvadorian president provides a hellhole of a gulag to warehouse humans denied due process here in America. The pattern is clear. The American dream is becoming a nightmare of lawlessness that is already drawing the whole world into the nightmare, and we're not waking up anytime soon. But you want to know what is the ugliest part of all of this? That the church, too many segments thereof, created, continue to create, empower, and sustain this wickedness. Church people, let me talk to you plainly for a moment. And if none of this applies to any of you watching because you have resisted it from the start like I have, then please share this video with those to whom it does apply, who still listen to wisdom. Please. My friends, you claim to follow the one who says, I am the life. And yet, you champion a man who kills people wantonly, capriciously, illegally in the open ocean. Without integrity or credibility. You say you love the man of Galilee who instructed us to love our neighbor as he loves us. Yet, you celebrate one who boasts of his sexual, violent, non-consensual conquests and dehumanizing looseness upon children and women, except when they appear in the Epstein files. You defend a man with multiple frauds, multiple criminal convictions, multiple settlements for illegal acts, and whose contempt, cruelty, hate, and racism are unbridled. How can you name yourself after the one described as full of grace and truth, while your public character is welded to a man defined by grievance and self-exaltation, whose manifesto is retribution, and to whom Jesus would say today, you lie because you are of your father the devil, just as Jesus said it to the deceitful and deceiving Pharisees. The American Congress is filled with Methodists, Baptists, Catholics, Presbyterians, Pentecostals, and others, yet only a few of them look anything like Jesus, or sound anything like Jesus, or support policies that do justice to their neighbors that Jesus would want. What is this? Why have you and so many American Christians, Caribbean and African and Central and South American Christians and others, become totally hostile toward the light and now fight like hell for the darkness? Why has your faith become patently TRUMPIN and no longer CHRISTIAN? Don't you care about credibility or fidelity anymore? Americans convince themselves that the promises of a fraud who failed at both business and truth-telling innumerable times would give them better egg prices on day one. They went for what I call a pot of mess, that somebody else and the King James Version calls a mess of pottage, selling their birthright to a fraud and dismissing the long game of saving their democracy. Never mind it was with a woman and with a woman of color, but she was defending our democracy, while the other person was defending his belly and lying to you through his teeth. Now, I excuse people who don't know the Bible, but the folks who know the story of a man named Esau, who bartered his birthright away for a bowl of stew, they should have known better. He thought of his belly rather than about the long game, a pot of mess, and he lost. We Americans have traded alliances for isolation. A pot of mess. We have traded principles for a flawed personality. A pot of mess. We have ceded service for a spectacle. A pot of mess. We have exchanged constitutional stewardship for cultic servitude. A pot of mess. We have bartered away a bright future for a pot of mess. And it's a hot, humid, and deadly stew. But back to tomorrow's State of the Union address. I won't be watching, not because I want to be uninformed. I guess I would become dumber by watching. But I won't be watching because I am weary of spectacle divorced from substance, rhetoric unmoored from reality. I am weary of faith invoked to sanctify the indefensible and baptize the evil. Of course, the real issue today is not about a speech. It is about credibility. Why does it seem to no longer matter to so many people? What have we decided is worth more than truth, character, integrity, or our very souls? If we cannot answer that, then no address, especially from an unrepentant reprobate, shall ever rescue us. Have we finally decided that a pot of mess is all we are worth? I am Michael Friday, and your week just became sacred. I'll see you again soon. Happy Monday. All the Lenten way to Friday.